Graceful birds with the face of a beautiful man or woman flock on the edges of dark clouds. Their plumage is the color of storms, ranging from light gray to dark slate, with a green or violet hue shimmering on the eldest. The Alkonost. Let's talk about it. The Alkonost is a creature in Russian mythology and folklore. In Russian folklore, the Alkonost is a large bird with a woman's head that makes a beautiful sound. These sounds want to make you forget everything but the Alkonost and its beautiful song. The mythology around these creatures can get quite confusing as they bounce around from Russian folklore to Greek to even Slavic. We see a lot of overlap not only with Greek and Slavic creatures but real-life birds as well. The Alkonost is similar to the sirens and mimics them in various ways. Instead of taking to the seas, the Alkonost instead takes to the skies. But it is said to lay eggs on beaches and roll them into the sea. When the eggs hatch, a thunderstorm is produced, making the seas extremely rough and impossible to sail. The birth is said to sometimes also produce sirens. In the Russian mythos, the Alkonost lives in the underworld with the siren. The siren is also a half-bird, half-lady creature and is native to Greek mythology. Its symbolism has evolved over the years. Some say it was a being who preached the future to our world's prophets, others a symbol of heavenly joy, but it ultimately represents man's temptations and desires. The Alkonost living in the underworld is also an interesting fact, because the Greek Neoplatonist philosopher Proclus said that there are three kinds of sirens: the celestial sirens of Zeus, the generative of Poseidon, and the cathartic sirens of Hades, in which their job in the underworld is to help one's soul conform to the strict infernal regime of which they are to act out for eternity. In the Slavic mythos, the Alkonost is represented in another light. The Slavic folklore just has one Alkonost or siren called Gamayun. Gamayun is a prophetic bird and a symbol of wisdom and knowledge. She is said to live on an island in the mythic east, close to paradise. The Gamayun knows everything of all creation and spreads divine prophecies like some depictions of the siren. Variations of the Alkonost even made their way into the book of Genesis as a representation of paradise. But ultimately, all variations of the Russian Alkonost, whether it be the Slavic Gamayun or Greek siren, all come from the Greek mythos and siren mythology. The name of the Alkonost comes from the Greek tale titled Alcyone and Ceyx, who were a wife and husband that endured the wrath of, you guessed it, Zeus. Alcyone and Ceyx were a couple living on the island of Trachis. Alcyone was the queen of Trachis, but the couple, all in good fun, would often compare themselves to Zeus and Hera. This silly comparison by the two angered Zeus, and so while Ceyx was out at sea, Zeus threw a thunderbolt at his ship. Quickly after the outrageous incident, Morpheus, god of dreams, appeared to Alcyone as Ceyx and told her of his ghastly fate. Ridden with grief, the young queen threw herself into the raging sea. But out of compassion the gods turned the two mortals into birds, common kingfishers to be exact, also known as Halcyon birds, named after Alcyone. The Alkonost has even made its way into pop culture, such as the Studio Ghibli classic, Spirited Away, with the antagonist and proprietor of the bathhouse being Yubaba, a witch who can wrap herself into her cloak and transform into a large bird, very similar to the Alkonost and its counterparts. As for Dungeons & Dragons, the Creature Codex has taken a very different approach to the Alkonost. In the Creature Codex, the Alkonost is a singer to the storm god or gods depending on your setting. Its song is said to be heard as a precursor to an extremely massive storm. On land, the Alkonosts are said to be the harbingers of electric storms, tornadoes, and powerful winds. But at sea, the Alkonosts fly with seabirds and squalls ahead of hurricanes. Sailors on the high seas consider their beautiful song a reckoning, and I quote, a reminder that every soul has a black wave waiting to claim it. The Alkonost could easily be placed into your campaign, possibly foreshadowing the wrath of a storm god like Zeus, or an incoming storm, or maybe even being used as a companion to sirens themselves, possibly foreshadowing them as a later plot or story arc. The Alkonost is also said to be an ally of druids, and those close to nature. Sometimes it is said that the Alkonost will make home in a druid's sacred grove. There they lay their eggs and guard the grove, flying naturally with various electric storms that they may inevitably conjure up. So maybe your adventuring party must make their way to a druid's grove and find these creatures guarding the entrance, asking for a secret password, or flying above singing the praises of storm gods. The creature is a small monstrosity with a true neutral alignment and a challenge rating of 1/2. It has a flying speed of 40 feet and an equally comparable walking speed of 20. Its intelligence comes out at 7 and has a dark vision of 60 feet. The creature's damage resistance is of course lightning, and it can speak only common. As for abilities and traits, the creature has an ability called One with Wind. This allows the Alkonost to be constantly immune to magical and natural wind effects that would force it to do something against its will. It also gives the creature additional lightning damage when close to a lightning or thunderstorm. As for actions, the Alkonost can use its claws to gouge its enemy's eyes out, or sing a beautiful song charged with lightning. The Alkonost in some parts of Dungeons & Dragons universe is also used as a familiar, serving another creature. The Alkonost will form a willing, magical, telepathic bond with its companion. This allows the companion to sense what the Alkonost senses while they are within 1 mile of each other. And if the two are within 10 feet of each other, then the Alkonost shares the One with Wind trait with its companion. If you're a wizard, ranger, warlock, or druid is wondering what familiar they should get, then give them this option. It could prove very beneficial, especially that One with Wind trait. I remember playing a druid and using wind-powered magic often, whether it was forming a wind wall or knocking creatures back with a strong gust of wind. Being immune to those sorts of magic is definitely not something to take lightly. You can even cast a transmutation spell such as Enlarge or Reduce, or polymorph and fly through the skies on the Alkonost's back. What a sight that would be. Anyways, my fellow warriors, that is the Alkonost. Man, that was fun. I hope you had as much fun as I did making that video. If you'd like to see more, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to get more involved in this wonderful community, then I encourage you to leave a comment and join the Discord server. Anyways, my warriors, I will see you in the morrow when the sun rises upon the crested hill and the winds bring the scent of glory to our hearts.